All right. Hello, everybody. Dr. Steve Green here with another in my series of business success stories and business success interviews. And I am really happy today. I got a little bit of something different today. I am going to be talking with an expert in the field of counseling attorneys, who's actually an attorney himself, but he's taken to counseling attorneys on courtroom skills, building confidence, which is something you can use anywhere, but something called Training for Trial. So that's the name of your program, Rob?
That is. Good afternoon.
So I am here with Rob Graff, Esquire, the esteemed attorney himself. He's got a program called Training for Trial. And as it says here, it builds confidence in the courtroom and before you enter the courtroom skills. So there's Rob, looking very handsome. And this is a recent picture.
It is, I guess, from last summer.
It looks like you.
Yeah, it is me.
Well, it's like the dating site. Like, I don't look like my picture anymore. I'm old and shriveled up, but no, Rob's a good-looking guy, and but I don't think that's because of the picture per se. It's because he is a confident person. He's knows what's going on, and it shows. So it's a presence, and I think that's important. So, Rob, tell me a little bit as we get into this here. Tell me a little bit about your history. I know you're in Pennsylvania. Rob's also a guy local to me. For everybody out there in make the grade land. So, where are you from? What's your little short story here?
I am from the area. I lived my first 11 years of my life in Delaware, moved out to Pennsylvania when I was 11, and have lived in this area ever since.
Okay, so he's a cheesesteak kind of guy.
I am. I went to University of Pennsylvania
okay.
For undergrad. I went to Villanova for law school.
So you really did not stray very far.
I did not, and now I live in media.
Okay, so for those of you out of the area, these are all maybe radius of about 25 miles.
That's right.
So Rob is not. Have you traveled anywhere?
I've traveled extensively, yes.
Okay,
but I love living in the Pennsylvania area.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's the weather.
It is.
That's what draws us all here. These 15-degree nights and 95-degree humidity summers. So Rob, you've been an attorney how long?
I've been an attorney since 2007.
2007, so about 7 years, 8 years now, and your specialization is
I consider myself a trial attorney.
Okay.
I see three aspects of law. People know of transactional, they know of litigators, but I consider myself different. I consider myself a trial attorney. My background is I was a prosecutor for almost 5 years. I was a commercial litigator for 2.5 years, and I realized I love being in the courtroom, and that is something I love to do. So the writing, the research, that's not me. I love performing in front of people.
Interesting. So I'm going to assume, not being an attorney, that there are lawyers who would rather be behind the scenes or doing different types of law.
There are a lot of them are transactional attorneys. They read, they write contracts. They're great attorneys. They'll help you start your business. There's litigators. I heard a story of a litigator at a big firm who, after years of practicing, he retired having never had a trial in his life.
Interesting. I mean, I think a lot of people, obviously everybody's heard of attorneys, but I think, right or wrong, most people's maybe perception of attorneys is Law and Order or maybe Perry Mason. That's kind of dating me a little bit. But is that realistic? Is that really what people see in a courtroom?
For some it is. I've had one trial that was very Law and Order-esque.
Interesting.
Most of the time it is not, but it's what people view when they're on juries. It's what people expect attorneys to be. As you said, these are courtroom dramas. They're not shows about attorneys, they're courtroom dramas.
That's true.
And that's why a lot of times it's why people went to law school. Is because they saw what was on TV and they wanted to be living that life.
Yeah. Well, when I grew up, I wanted to be an architect. You know why?
Why?
Bob Brady.
That's what I was going to
Brady
say.
Bunch, the Brady Bunch dad. Well, that's a true story. He was an architect. I didn't even know what an architect did. But if he did it, I wanted to do it. Anyway, so the Graff Standard. Let's get through this a little bit. This is the name of your business.
Graff Standard. It is a business.
So tell me, what's the mission? Where'd this come from? The Graff Standard.
Graff Standard. It has been a kind of a journey. I've been working with attorneys now the Graff Standard's been around for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
But I've in the past 6 months really focused on working with attorneys with their courtroom skills, their courtroom presence, performance, and practice. So ranging from confidence in the courtroom to doing consulting work, helping attorneys prepare for litigation with witness preps for trial, with their openings, their closings, going through risk analysis with them.
So you're basically really teaching them how to be a courtroom person.
Correct. And I have two programs. One is the consulting program, and the other is a training program as well. And that's what I wanted to focus on today was a training program.
Exactly.
This can work for anyone. This can work for attorneys that have been doing it for years that want to expand their practice into litigation, or new associates at small firms that aren't meeting the partner's standards, but the partner, because it is a small firm, doesn't have time to individually train these people to be more confident in
You know, it
courtroom.
reminds me of a little bit, because as you know, and most of the people who have listened to a lot of my casts here know, I'm in the education arena. You can go to school all your life to learn to be a teacher, but when you get in the classroom, it's a very different story. And a lot of people really don't get that. They don't expect that. It's tough. So there's a lot of mentoring, and there's a lot of master teacher, coming up teacher, and student teacher relationships that tend to develop, and it's good. Okay, so Rob Graff from the Graff Standard. Oh, look at this. What about me? You want to ask me a question?
Sure. How long
Counselor? Yes.
How long have you... well, what is your title in Make the Grade?
Do I have to answer that? Okay.
I'm
under oath, right? Yes. Now, I am the founder, owner, and principal director here at Make the Grade. We are an education company. There's really two pieces we do. We run a tutoring center, so I specialize in helping middle school and high school and college-age kids with math, science, anything in the sciences, and getting into college, test prep, SATs, all that fun stuff. Then the other piece of the business, which brings me into the kind of stuff we're talking about, is I work with a lot of entrepreneurs on communication, and not communication, how to speak, but using technology, using arenas like video, things like this to communicate what they have. So really, this is a perfect blend here.
It is, and it's funny. I do college interviews for University of Pennsylvania, and they now are the regular decision students are having their interviews done, and they are obviously. I try to keep them calm, saying it's
just your life.
They're very anxious right now. College has become such a big thing, so you should take any step that you can to be at that edge of competitiveness.
It is competitive. Well, let's we'll save that for another discussion, because that's a whole other thing in itself. So here's what we're going to get into today. First of all, as an attorney, or probably maybe even a witness, the importance of having a courtroom confidence, the results you may see using the Graff system, what this process is, and a short bullet point, maybe sort of thing on what Rob's program is. So, why is confidence important? Obviously, the courtroom is your focus, but I think we could probably take almost any one of these points and put sales somewhere in the sentence, or just life. So, courtroom performance. Let's. How do you want to heal? You want to go through these one by one, or you want to?
Well, let's go through it by one by one.
Yeah, so why is it? I mean, I can guess, but if I'm a judge and I'm looking at an attorney who doesn't seem to really be selling their case, does that affect the outcome of trials?
It does. It even affects it more with a jury, but even more so, it affects it affects it with the clients. I was speaking to someone one time who was, when I explained to her what I did, she said that she had an attorney in court who got so beaten up by the judge that she went to the attorney afterwards and asked him if he was all right. That's not something that is going to...
And for a refund? Or
exactly.
That far?
It's not going to instill confidence in your client base. It's not going to... Not only is it not going to work for the judge and the jury, but the client. Why is this client going to refer somebody to you and say, hey, take your case to court, if this attorney can get beaten up in court by the judge?
Now, when you say courtroom performance, are you talking about theatrics? Are you talking about knowledge of case law? Are you talking about... I don't know what's a good word to use, ability to sort of perform and make a compelling case just by their oration, or is it all of this?
I would say 1 in 3.
1 in 3.
I believe that every attorney knows their case law. They got through school. They can read it. They know how to read.
So we're going to assume that's a
We're going to assume that. Yes. Okay. If they don't, they need to go out and learn it.
So that's another problem. That's not
the
Graff standard. That's go back to
law school.
Okay. All right. So it's convincing, if that's the right word, the audience, the jury, the judge, maybe even some other witnesses, that you feel strongly about your case, you're going to present it effectively. Now, it's a business. I get in trouble or I need representation. I'm typically paying for that in most cases. So how do you address client expectations?
Well, with this, it goes with confidence. If you know what you're doing, if you have a feel and a sense that you know what you're doing, clients will be happy with your representation.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you win the case, clients are going to be upset. They are never going to get 100%
So you did your
they
best,
want.
it just didn't go our way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the facts are just the facts. But if it is clear that you did your best, clients are going to be much happier with those results, regardless of what they were.
Impressing your supervisor. So this would be in a firm kind of situation.
Yeah. I mean, you go in, you're new at this, you're a new attorney, you want to do the best job, you want to make partner perhaps one day. If you are on a litigation track, if you are a trial attorney that needs to learn how to do trial, the only way to do it is to either get your time in court or, I guess, hire me. But the one thing that is very difficult is that when you are at a firm, many times, unless you're at a very small firm, the partners aren't going to want you to go to court on the first time. So where are you going to gain that confidence? Where are you going to gain that ability? I offer outside of the courtroom trainings to gain that confidence, to gain those skills. So when you first step into a courtroom, you seem like you've been doing it for years.
Probably could get into that more, but let's stay on topic for a second. Improve your reputation. That would be across the board.
Across the board,
in
with
your
judges,
firm, with judges, with other
attorneys.
Like, we're going up against Graff in this trial. We better know our stuff.
I would hope they would say that.
I know they say that. They're saying that. Being an attorney, you envision yourself. Let's talk about this for a second, because I spend a lot of my days working with kids and sometimes adults who really don't have a clear. They have a vision of what they're trying to accomplish, but they don't. They're frustrated on how they're getting there. I get a kid who comes in, they don't understand math. It's frustrating. Yeah. Or I have a person who owns a business and they're making half the money they feel they should. This isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I thought it would be when I opened my whatever type of business. Is there some disillusionment? Is this last one here, being attorney and vision? Is there a gap between what people expect it's going to be, like in the field, or is it they just didn't know, or maybe 10 years after you start, it's not what you thought it would be, or 20 years later? I'm not really asking the question as well as I'd want, but I think this last bullet point is important because it's about personal satisfaction.
Yes, the answer is yes. It is that gap. As we talked about TV shows, courtroom dramas. People that want to go to court, they expect that's what the courtroom's going to be like. Mm-hmm. Now, we didn't...
Nice and clean and whatever.
We took classes in law school on how to object, how to do openings, how to do closings. But what if things don't go your way? What if the judge overrules an objection that you had that isn't what you expected because it's not by the rules of evidence? As you used the term, it's not as clean as it is on the TV, as it is in law school, in that bubble. So, are your expectations of what you thought a courtroom was going to be like and the reality, are those things that are so separate that there is this dissonance in between? And when there's a dissonance, there's a fear. And when there's a fear, there becomes...
everything starts
to fall apart. So part of the stuff that I do training with is making people prepare without planning. And we'll get into this later.
Sure. But
it's about knowing the case, but not being so in-depth in the case like that you would see on TV, where when something goes wrong, you can't recover from it.
Well, the last thing I think I'd bring up on this slide, and we're going to move ahead, is there's going to be some people that are just naturally more comfortable than others.
That's correct.
Just like in anything. There's people that walk into sales guys, and they can sell eggshells to chicken farmers, and you got other people, no matter how much training they get, they're not 100% confident. But from this page, these are kind of a list of what you need and sort of goals at the same time.
Exactly.
So this is a great slide. By the way, Rob made this slide. I usually make the PowerPoint, but he did a fabulous job here. So he's got a new job description too now. All right. So this program, you may get into this second, but it's a 6-week thing, 8-week thing,
it's a 10-week thing.
10-week program.
10 sessions.
So these are some things you would hope your graduates or your enrollees are going to see as they work.
These are some of them, yes. Expanding your practice areas. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
If you're a general practitioner that does mainly transactional work and you want to get into litigation, you want to get into courtroom work, there's a whole other area that you can work in now because you have that confidence going forward.
Okay.
Larger client base, the same the same thing there. If your practice base is expanding, you have a larger client base that you can get cases from.
Well,
I do
right.
litigation now. I do personal injury. These are things that I know about because I've studied them for years. Or a wills and estates attorney who has never gone to court before. They write the wills. Um, they've never done estate administration. They've done estate planning.
Mm-hmm.
They've never done the administration. Now they can go to court confidently saying, "I do estate administration as well as estate planning."
Interesting.
Just expanding that client base.
Now, when you say more, you mean more clients who are about to get married?
No, they're engaging their core muscles.
Yeah, that's
No.
what. Yeah.
What it means is, yeah, I learned this actually from the Ritz-Carlton. We want engaged customers. We want engaged clients. Happy clients are great.
Sure.
It's great to have happy clients that'll say, "Look, Rob did a great job for me. Steve did a great job for me."
Mm-hmm.
But engaged clients are the ones that are happy, but they refer. And they're not only referring,
Refer you business.
Refer you business. And they
Sure.
also come back when they need another problem solved the next time around.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're there for. We're there to solve problems. So
Yeah,
we want
right,
these people
right.
engaged in what we're doing so that when they go on to a forum, they see hey, somebody needs help. I know the perfect person.
Mm-hmm.
A happy client isn't necessarily going to do that. They'll just know that they had a good job.
Mm-hmm.
We want our clients referring to us as well.
Beautiful. So let's talk about the process. So somebody comes in. Is this one-on-one? Is this a group combination?
It's mainly one-on-one. It can be done as a group as well. One-on-one allows for a more individualized process.
Mm-hmm.
However, if the young associates are facing the same issues, then definitely it can be a group process as well.
Okay, so you meet with them.
I have an online assessment.
Okay.
Once they sign the agreement, I send them the assessment. It's about a 30-minute online assessment. If even, they take it.
So this is where they are. This is baseline.
Shows
Start
me where
point.
they are.
Right.
We then spend an hour reviewing it. Once we do that, we schedule our next session, and during that time, I create an individualized program
Mm-hmm.
to go forward with this person in our 10 sessions, and then we implement the program. Now, the program could be confidence building. It could be very technical, though, in that, hey, this person needs to learn the rules of evidence. This person needs to learn how to object when they need to object. Let's go from there. Let's learn some courtroom etiquette even. So it can be a lot of the confidence building, but it can also be technical work as well, depending on the person's strengths, depending on the person's weaknesses.
And that's really where you come in, because you can have 20 people with basically 20 different programs.
Correct.
This is not unlike when somebody comes to me, or many people come to me for, say, SAT prep.
Mm-hmm.
They're all trying to get the same goal, which is a high score.
Right.
But they're all coming from different places. They all have different skill profiles. So you got to set up different programs, which is why I'm a big believer in the one-on-one piece. And then you just go to work. Implementation, it's an hour a week, 2 hours a week?
It's an hour a week normally.
Okay, perfect. So here's what we got.
So
and this is a little repetitive, but
yeah,
so you have your assessment.
As I said, 30-minute online assessment, 1 hour review. Why do we do the assessment? The assessment really, as you said, Steve, it gives a baseline. It
Sure.
shows why you are the attorney that you are. It shows how engaged you are with the work that you're doing. It shows what potential you have to move forward, and possibly we go over what blocks there are. So that's what it'll show. And it'll help you because it will give you that baseline. And we can take the assessment again following the 10 weeks. And I'm not going to guarantee it depending on the work that you do, but I'm pretty sure there will be change and you'll be more engaged in the work and more excited about the work. And every problem will seem like an opportunity rather than a challenge.
Now this is, well, there's kind of a two-part question. A, who would be your quote-unquote average client? And I'm sure that's really a tough, there's no going to be single answer there, but is there some amount of time in service that somebody would benefit from this more than somebody else? Let me give you an example. I graduated law school 2 years ago. I've been on the job, but I've been kind of coddled in a firm. Now they're trying to tell me to spread my wings a little bit. Is that a good time to take your class? I'm 11 years on the job. I got the big house out in Malvern. I don't love what I do, but I love the salary. I'm feeling a little frustrated just because I feel kind of trapped in the corporate kind of gig. Is that a good time to take your job? I'm a 32-year veteran. I'm just tired. Or all three?
I think all three can always use it. I'm not sure the veteran is going to require it as much, especially if he's had courtroom work. However, he could say, look, I've just left my firm. I'm trying to start my own firm.
So they're kind of they're in their twilight
Mhm.
kind of career.
I'd like to do this so I can get an income, and this is the type of practice I'm looking to do because I
Mhm.
see the potential in it. Why don't you come in and help train my associates so that I don't have to sit around and train them? They're already trained, they're already confident in how to go to court. I just need to give you the reins, and I'll bring in the cases, or he'll bring in the cases, and he'll let them run with it and not have to follow them day to day.
Is there do you feel comfortable sharing maybe a case study? Or you don't have to mention names, obviously, but is there somebody you've worked with that maybe you can give a specific example of some skills that they were weak with that then they came out really feeling strong with, or something like that?
Sure, I'll actually give a very easy one. One of the people I've worked with felt very confident in dealing with clients. The whole sitting behind a desk, talking to the clients,
Yeah, the
selling the clients
rainmaker
in the
side, though.
process. Yes.
Okay.
Even being able to explain the cases, but was terrified of going to court.
Hmm.
And it really came down to two issues. Uh, Looking at his baseline where he was somebody that liked to help people and liked to partner with them. And that's why he liked to help them.
Right.
And his first case, when he took it to court, his clients lied to him. So
Hmm.
then he was almost shell-shocked. So we had to get through that shell shock in saying, hey, you know what? Clients are going to lie. But the other
Supposed to, right?
it's
People.
about learning that it's normal for your clients to lie sometimes. I know I said normal sometimes, but it is it happens. The other part was
So
that,
it's life as a lawyer,
exactly.
or as anything, I guess.
He also started as a lawyer later in life.
Hmm.
So he felt that he was behind everyone else that was in court, that he was 5 years behind everyone else.
Is
So
it sometimes a case of I find with tutoring, one of the questions I ask people when I interview them as a potential student is, what else have you done? Have you been to another course or tutor or program? And I'm not disparaging other firms or tutors, but sometimes I'd rather get a student that has no training at all, even if they're worse off, because it's easier to teach them your system. Do you find that people who are 8, 10 years in the court, but maybe they've just developed and ingrained such weak or ineffective habits that it's so much harder to break them and replace them with productive, positive ones?
I think it's a difficult break with any attorney. We are taught to have very thick skin. So to
As
admit,
a profession.
yes.
Is that like the second year of law school?
First.
That's right away. That's the first week.
First, yeah, orientation.
With the application. Can you have thick skin? Check. All right, you're in.
So it's about accepting that, hey, maybe I can be doing this better. Maybe there's something I can do better. And once you get through that, it's actually a blank slate to begin with. Because once it's accepting that maybe there is a different way to do it than the way I'm doing it so I can have more success. Because the feeling I'm getting right now isn't great, but I'm not going to admit I'm doing it wrong anyway.
Because you can't in the middle of a trial.
Exactly.
Right. Now, but you know what's interesting too is everything. It's a moving target because trial one, you could have the same law being broken, or the same. You're defending somebody for the same. I don't know, give me a citation. I don't know what the right word is.
Or any type of.
But you may be two different judges, two different juries, two different circumstances. Maybe it's hot one day, cold one day. So even if your technical case law is similar, all the other stuff around it may change.
Exactly.
And some people don't respond well to that either.
And that's one of the biggest issues is that when something goes wrong, how do we respond to it? And how do we keep a straight face? How do we keep a poker face?
So let me ask you a really loaded question. Should we presume that assuming you got two lawyers who have equal skill, and we got a trial, the one who's trained with the Graff standard, who's calm, focused, centered, and all the other things you're trying to teach people, should have some kind of advantage, or would they have, in your mind, some sort of advantage over the other person? I mean, I don't know if advantage is the word I want to put into your mouth, but why would they?
I would think it's having a different point of view, and I hate to say calm is the right way. Believe it or not, I'm a yeller. I actually get very... I'm much more aggressive in my
He's
courtroom.
very calm here. By the way, guys, he's very calm here.
In my courtroom performance, in my courtroom persona, I am much more aggressive than I am right now and in normal life. But it's
Because that's what sells in court.
it's what sells.
Okay.
And it's the way I
And you're doing what you need to do to make your case.
exactly. So it's not about being calm. It's about knowing when to raise that energy to the point where you
Okay.
not number one, you know everything that's going on, you know everything about the case, but when something goes up, you can
So it's like one of
represent
these
your
things. Like
client.
I don't know if it was Michael Jordan or Kareem Jabbar. He said when every once in a while he'll get in the zone, and he's shooting the ball. It looks like the basket's like 7 feet wide, because he's in such a state of focus.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of talking about that.
And
Right.
I'm trained I'm a certified professional coach,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize it until I got certified in that. But I was kind of reaching into that zone where during my trials everything would just slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very weird
But
feeling.
in a tense environment.
Yes.
In the best case,
And I
right?
would hear everybody talking. I'd see everything going on, but it would just seem
So
slow.
you're kind of processing on a little different level, which enables you to keep clear.
Mhm.
And just kind of keep everything in front of you a little bit, so you're not making rash decisions. You're not going
I'm
out
not
of turn.
things
Right.
aren't blowing up in my face.
Now, can somebody learn, master, improve this in 10 weeks, or is this a life skill?
No, I believe they can learn it in 10 weeks.
Okay, there you heard it here first. Actually, probably not, but you did hear it here. Listen, for the sake of time, we're going to kind of bring this around.
Mhm.
Rob, anything we didn't mention about your course you want to throw in here?
No, obviously it can be lessened or 10 sessions is the basic standard course. However, it can be lessened or increased
So
depending
they could
on...
cycle through another 5 or 10 or
Exactly.
Okay. Well, look at this. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
This is how you get a hold of Rob. Rob, as he mentioned, is based in Southeast Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
and we're kind of going toe to toe here on the social media links.
Yeah.
They got the businesses, so it's Graff Standard versus Make the Grade. Not versus. We're working together here. We got our emails. We got the websites, Facebook, Twitter. I just went Instagram instead of my phone number. But my phone number is 540-8378 in case you're concerned.
That's a 215 area code.
215. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, we got 4 area codes in Philadelphia out there, people. Very confusing, even if you live here. I still haven't quite figured that out. All right, Rob, I'm going to give you the last word here then. First of all, thanks for coming by.
And thank you, Steve, for this
I
opportunity.
hope people out there are hearing this on a couple levels. Number one, you got a very bright, articulate guy here who's kind of merging 2 professions,
Mhm.
coaching with the legal field. It sounds like this is a great resource because there's got to be a lot of stressed out people
Mhm.
who can benefit from this. I got to think, although you're tailoring it for the attorney world, basically what you're teaching is kind of universal.
That's right.
So maybe that's your chicken soup for the soul brand here is you got it for attorneys and maybe you start doing it for salespeople.
Mhm.
Branch out a little bit. Maybe we can talk about that. Rob, you got anything coming up? You mentioned you might be doing some speaking engagements.
I have it's beginning this month. It's actually beginning next week, which this doesn't create an evergreen, but it is January 21st, 2015.
All right, there you go.
Is a speaking engagement with American Executive Centers. They're a virtual office. I'm doing 2 that day, one in Malvern, one in Radnor.
Oh, look at that.
And it's going to be a month to month. This month it is dealing with difficult clients or helping attorneys deal with difficult clients, but I'm sure that is also a universal topic as well.
It's not for a room full of attorneys.
It is for a room
Oh,
full
it
of
is for a room
attorneys.
full. All right, well.
But
But difficult clients, unfortunately, are part of sales life.
they are part of
every kind of life.
Every
Yeah.
life. So that is what's coming up next. I have a couple other speaking engagements that are one's for Drexel, one's for Rotary Club, but the American Executive will be a continuing one that's coming up.
Very nice. I can tell you, I've seen Rob speak.
It's how we met.
It is how we met. Originally, it was probably 8 months ago. Wasn't it? I forget. February? I can't remember.
I want to
Maybe
say
a year
March
ago.
of 2014.
So it was a while ago. You know, when you get my age, time runs. But Rob gave a really nice presentation on kind of staying organized, prioritizing, and I still have the notes from that. I should pull them out and show you. I should scan them and put them at the end of this. But he's a good guy to know, especially if you're in the legal field. I'm going to recommend you reach out, have a conversation. It doesn't cost anything to talk to
It
you.
does not, no.
And you may find this is the best decision you made, especially as an attorney if you really aren't clear on your mission. So in closing, Steve Green here from Make the Grade. This is another one of my series of conversations with successful business people. If you or somebody you know is an entrepreneur or a business owner, they want to have a discussion about this and bring out what they think is working, have them connect with me. Oh, Rob, I forgot one thing. You got 30 more seconds?
I do.
I always ask people this, and I forgot because I really was interested in what we were talking about today. You have one thing you want to share, your secret. I got a lot of young wannabe entrepreneurs out there that listen to this or watch this. What's your secret? What would you tell a younger, or maybe not younger, but a person who hasn't quite broken through to reach their entrepreneurial dreams yet? What keeps you getting up in the morning?
It's
I didn't prep him for this question.
It's patience.
Patience. All right, that's a good one. Patience with
the whole process.
The whole process.
If you see the people that make 6 figures in 6 months, those are so rare that it is unbelievable. It is a lot of hard work and a lot of patience, and knowing that it will come through, because if you're passionate about your dream, that's
another important P word there.
Yeah.
Patience and passion.
So be patient, and things will happen.
I also get the sense, Rob, you seem like a very honest guy. I think it kind of comes across in our conversation. It may not come across visually with what we're doing here, but I think that's important, is sincerity.
Well,
authenticity.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't want to slam anything in the legal field, but frankly, I think there's some situations where that's not always the reputation. Not in my personal case, but I think sort of in the world perception sometimes. All right, so I went overtime here. I apologize, folks, but it's all about having quality, and I don't get somebody with this kind of stuff to provide every time here. So, Rob, thanks again. Here's again how you get hold of either of us. Reach out. Let's connect. And I will talk to you next time.